everyone, I'm Vanessa, marketing lead at Adina, and you're listening to The Beauty Curtain. This is the podcast that draws back the curtain on the beauty and personal care industry. And today we're back with our very own ingredient specialist, Kiyaan Bui. And today we're going to dive into biotech and more of the scientific breakthroughs disrupting our industry. So a micro trend mentioned in our recent trend report was the biotech boom. As this is such a broad term, can you explain a little bit more about what we mean by biotech?
So biotechnology is an umbrella term for essentially taking sources from nature and engineering them to create useful byproducts or engineering them into a particular material in a smarter way. So ensuring that they perform better, for example, or ensuring that there isn't a depletion of those materials or resources when converting them into certain grades or certain materials.
So why is this technology so relevant at the moment?
I think it touches base on the whole topic of sustainability. We're trying to think more long term now. The certain materials and resources that we rely on, for example, like fossil fuels, they're not going to be around forever. So it's about thinking, what can we replace that with, and how can we do that in a way that it doesn't deplete certain resources that we rely on for other industries as well.
So you've mentioned sustainability. Can biotech actually improve the performance of ingredients as well?
Definitely. I think that with the use of biotechnology, it also helps to add other aspects and benefits to the material itself. So whether it enhances a particular texture or a specific benefit in a formulation. So it's not just about, the sourcing of the material itself. It's about how we can turn this particular material, for instance, and upgrading it to help provide a better performance or better benefit when it's incorporated into a product.
Are brands embracing this technology at the moment? Who are some industry leaders?
We know that Biosense, for example, with their squalane, which is derived from 100% renewable sugarcane that's been biofermented, they use that as a key ingredient in their formulation to help provide softening and moisturization properties to their formulations.
So you mentioned using renewable sugarcane to create the squalane. Why is it so important to look at renewable squalane at the moment?
Well, I think squalane has different sources. We know that squalane originally was sourced from sharks and also can be sourced from olives as well. And it's just about taking consideration of pros and cons of these sources. We know that sourcing from sharks is considerably cheaper as opposed to sourcing it from sugarcane or olives. But of course, that has the topic and issues of ethics as well. So it's, again, delving into different ways and other avenues of still obtaining the same material, but in a different way to ensure that we're being more sustainable and being more conscious about our decisions when creating a product.
Do you think there are possibilities for the price to be reduced in the future with using biotech if this is embraced more widely?
Definitely. I think that because only certain companies are looking into ways of processing and obtaining these materials, I think that is one of the reasons why it can be quite pricey. I think over time, when we do discover other ways to obtain these materials and source them, that hopefully it will be more accessible to other customers and brands and manufacturers as well, and hopefully that can reduce the price overall.
You mentioned that accessibility can be a bit of an issue with this technology, especially because of the price. Are there any indie brands, smaller brands trying to embrace this technology, or has it been reserved really for the larger brands?
Definitely. I think we see, for example, LA Brockett's Sea Mist. They feature their hero ingredient Algica that's known to purify water and absorb CO2 and also yield precious organic products. Although this is great that they have found an ingredient that has this benefit, it can also be quite expensive as well. So we do see that although indie brands are trying to embrace the aspect of sustainability, is not always accessible to everyone who wants to use a product that's sustainable or want to embrace that trend as well.
So is this trend just being embraced in beauty, or has it gone further afield? What are we seeing in other industries?
So it's not just exclusive to the beauty industry, it's delving into the food industry as well. So we have Eat Just, where they're trying to create a lab-grown meat, which has been approved this year. And so it's about taking more of a sustainable but also more of a compassionate approach to sustainability. And we also have, other interesting findings like Oxford University, where their scientists have found that they can obtain electricity that's renewable from air. So it's happening all over right now, and yeah, quite exciting to see, really.
I mean, that's amazing to hear, making electricity from air. How far are we from that technology? I mean, is that just a concept at this point, or could this really come true?
I mean, I think on the grand scheme of things, I think we're still very far away, but it is a start. It is a positive start. If it does happen, then, just the idea of not having to rely on something like fossil fuels would be amazing, but who knows?
The potential of biotech seems amazing. I mean, turning air into electricity, that's obviously going to be revolutionary. But you did mention lab-grown meat. Now, that brings up a few flags in my mind, and I know this topic has definitely been controversial. Do you think we're going to experience drawbacks in the uptake of biotech?
Yes, definitely. I feel you on that topic. I think that it's going to take a while for companies to re-establish that consumer trust and really re-educate consumers again about what meat should be sourced from as well. But I think there are other issues and topics that will need to be addressed, such as price as well, because this is something quite new. It's not going to be easily accessible to everyone. And until more brands and companies jump on the bandwagon and produce this lab-grown meat, then I think that it's only going to cater to specific consumers who can afford it, but also feel passionate about the concept of animal cruelty and sustainability.
Back to the ingredient space. Who would you say is leading in supplying ingredients from biotech sources?
So we definitely have a few suppliers that are leading with this. For example, we have Minosolv with the Alene 5, which is derived from renewable sources of the sugarcane bagasse, and essentially creating these materials that not only come from a sustainable source, but also have multifunctional benefits to your formulation. So again, it's about thinking smarter, right? It's about using an ingredient that's not going to deplete our natural resources on the earth, but also helping to potentially minimize the amount of ingredients in your formulation, and hopefully that also will reduce the price and costs of developing that product.
On to other scientific breakthroughs that we're seeing in the industry. Our most recent trend report included a large section on the brand new metagenomic study conducted by Biotech. Now, they had some really amazing findings into acne and the microbiome. But first, I'd love to know, why are we so interested in the skin microbiome?
So I think the beauty industry has definitely taken inspiration from the medical and nutraceutical industry, where they focused on the gut microbiome and how that can affect certain aspects of your life, such as your mental health, your sleep as well. And I think there is still more work to be done specifically for the beauty industry. I think the skin microbiome and the microbiome trend is still a complex and controversial topic, and definitely more work needs to be done, which is why I think, Biotech doing this study is really going to help inspire and help educate not only consumers but ourselves about how the skin microbiome works.
Before we move on to the Biotech study, you mentioned that the skin microbiome topic is maybe a bit controversial and complex. Why would you say it's so controversial?
Well, I think the skin microbiome is very personable. Everyone's skin microbiome is different. So to try and cater to everyone or have a one-size-fit approach is going to be impossible. And we still don't understand how the skin microbiome works and how they communicate with each other, because we're talking about millions and millions of colonies on our skin, and each of those species have a crucial role in maintaining the skin microbiome. And we still also don't understand why certain materials work well with the skin microbiome and why some can upset certain colonies. So again, it really is something that we need to continue to work on and continue to investigate.
I guess this study is helping maybe to demystify the skin microbiome a bit more. Can you tell us about the brand new study by Biotech?
So Biotech had conducted an in vivo forehead analysis study where they had investigated the skin microbiome in acne-prone individuals to see how their prebiotic inulin, which is the prebiotic phos, had any effect on the skin microbiota with those specific skin types. So they had created a cream containing 2% of the prebiotic phos and had tested that on their participants, as well as creating a placebo cream. And what they had investigated and observed was that the cream containing 2% of prebiotic phos had helped to create and foster a harmonious environment with the skin microbiota colony itself, also supporting the communication with each of the individual species and colonies. So essentially what they're saying is that inulin had a positive effect in helping to create that environment. And they also realized that certain harmful species of bacteria, they aren't able to metabolize the inulin at all. And that's why they were able to reveal that people with acne-prone skin, they saw a huge reduction in the C. acnes species by 80% over 24 hours. So essentially, we don't know why these specific species or bacteria, why they react like that with inulin, but we know that it is a start and it's a positive start.
Those are some amazing findings. And if anyone wants to know more about that study, make sure to have a look in our description box. Everything will be down below. So there's also been a lot of renewed interest in senescent cells or zombie cells. Can you tell us a bit more about what these are and why the beauty industry are kind of taking a look at them again?
So senescent cells are also known as zombie cells, and they're essentially known to cause inflammation in the skin because they're not functioning at their optimum. They're also kind of known to be quote unquote sluggish and tired and not performing at their optimum rate. With the continuous use of process inflammation in the skin, it can cause aging overall over time. What the beauty industry are trying to find out is whether we can reactivate or awaken these senescent cells in our skin to ensure that they are performing and working at their optimum rate and overall reducing the process of aging.
So what new kind of studies or has anything come out recently that has renewed this interest?
Well, I think it started off with the whole aspect of intermittent fasting, and recent research has revealed that by depriving these cells of glucose, it prevents certain harmful molecules and proteins to be secreted, which can contribute to the process of aging. So by depriving these cells of that, molecules and harmful proteins won't be secreted, and it won't be contributing to certain processes like inflammation overall, which again long term can cause issues that can result to helping the skin age faster.
Are there any ingredients on the market at the moment that are targeting these zombie or senescent cells?
So as a concept, I've been working really hard to produce a lot of new launches and really touching on the whole senescent cell trend. And one of the ingredients is called AC Premier Shield, which utilizes the powerful polyphenols of pomegranates and specifically pomegranate water. And they have shown that by applying this onto the skin, it can help to reawaken the senescent cells and therefore contributing to the process of anti-aging. We also have DSM, who are releasing an upcoming cellular senescence cell active that will be launched hopefully this year.
That's so exciting. That is a mouthful. Cellular senescence cell active. Okay, final question to round up this whole section. What do you think is the future of science in beauty?
I definitely think that there is still a need for education in these spaces, more transparency. I think brands are trying to engage more with their consumers, more project and work in local communities to help produce more of a sustainable and scalable approach to cosmetic raw materials and products on the market. I think it's more of a collaborative approach. I think without the support and the coverage from social media and from consumers themselves, that beauty brands aren't able to meet these goals and to be able to cater towards them as well. So overall, I think there's going to be a lot of collaborative work in the future.
Wow, thank you so much, Kiyaan. I'm sure everyone will agree these episodes have been super insightful. So thank you so much for joining us for not one but 2 episodes of the Beauty Curtain. So where can our audience find you?
So for any inquiries, just email me. And also if you want to reach out on social media, you can also find me on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you so much again, Kiyaan. And thank you to Harrison for producing this podcast. And of course, all of you for listening. All of the additional information will be down in the description box below. And we'll see you in the next episode.